I've shied away from so many games like that where my enjoyment of the game is dependent on the cooperation of other people,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just like most of the time it's a waste of time,
Yeah.
because you know really shitty people on
Yeah.
the internet.
Can't really count on other people.
No, no, but yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why I'm even remotely optimistic for Overwatch, but I think it's just like I think it's just because I'm holding out hope that there has to be some game eventually that I have a good time with it predominantly.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to the guy that I was playing with, and I'm just like, man, we like, because sometimes we'll just queue up just the two of us, so it'll be us and then three randoms.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, man, when we do that, I swear it's like, without being dramatic, it's a good 70% of the time that we're with people that are just awful.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, why do we keep doing this? And he's like, I don't know, man. you know, out of habit, I guess. Like, and I was like, yeah, man. I mean, I've already sunk in the time. I'm not only playing the game, but also like collecting all these skins and spent hours trading these skins to build this inventory from like nothing. And I'm like, I'm proud of it, but I just wish it like I wish it was for something that I enjoyed more now, because man, this is like rough.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, actually, I know like this is gonna be blasphemous, but but like some of my friends in college that I've actually become pretty good friends with, um, they're like old school in that they like they still play console games.
Uh-huh.
So you know they so
Console
actually
games.
so they play a lot of Halo.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh no, dude, I'll never do that ever. Like Halo is that was like my first experience with like the toxic 12-year-old kid that just screams into a microphone. Like I'll never go back to that.
Uh-huh.
But I started playing, and it is pretty fun. Like I consistently have a good time. And it's usually because I'm hanging out with people. So
Mm-hmm.
like I think that's definitely a part of it. But man, the games are like at most like the longest game type in that whole thing is like between 15 and 20 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't even play that game type very much. I usually play um like this game type that's really like Counter-Strike.
Uh-huh.
But 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 it's super fun, and the games are super short. Like shorter than a Hearthstone game,
Hmm.
really. Like
Yeah.
and so I've been playing that, and it's like, man, if you get shitty teammates, it's like you're with them for like on the game that I play. I think they're like 7-minute games,
Uh-huh.
so it's like,
Yeah.
man, it doesn't matter. But I've been enjoying that like crazy. I'm like, man, if you would have told me like when I first started playing Halo and like I was confronted by those kind of people that I would ever go back to Halo and have a good time, I never would have believed you. But it was pretty fun, and I'm just amazed. Like, my friend sent me uh, a picture of his friend's TV, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's like, you've been banned for quitting too many games,
Uh-huh.
and he got banned for 8 hours,
Huh.
which is like, which is pretty bad. But I was like, dude, how impatient do you have to be to quit those games, man? Like, I talked to him. I was like, he was like, yeah, I don't know. I played for like 2 minutes and I just didn't want to play anymore. I was like, man, you would never make it in like any other competitive game ever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. He was like, I could just tell 2 minutes in that like, it just wasn't gonna be a good game. I was like, shit, man. Like, I mean, like, just like for comparison, there are like in Counter Strike, there's a warm up period where people just pretty much like run around and you just run around and you warm up. Like you get like infinite money basically, and you can buy whatever you want, and you
Hmm.
just warm up. That warm up period is 2 minutes long. I'm like, you quit the whole game before I would have even finished a warm up, and
Yeah.
like in League, like what could you possibly do in 2 minutes?
Yeah, nothing. You
Like
walk to
yeah,
lane like
yeah.
you're
I
just
was
about to
literally
start playing the game at that point.
yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm like, we're on two completely different levels here.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, because if you only play that, that's like just a portion of that game. Like 2 minutes is a significant portion of a game that only lasts like 7 minutes. So you
Yeah,
think, yeah, 2 minutes. It's long enough for me to decide that I don't want to play anymore.
yeah. That's true. I mean, that's true. But that's just really funny. I was like, man, you didn't even.
Yeah.
But they're also just like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's because I started playing that differently than I started playing Counter Strike. Like I started playing Counter Strike on my own, and I basically just play that like when I go and hang out with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot less like. There's no like competitive and non-competitive. Like there's nothing like it doesn't work like that. You're not really
Mm-hmm.
working for a rank either. Like the ranks, you get a rank, but the ranks reset every month,
Uh-huh.
and the ranks also don't really matter because they're not they're not a reflection of your skill. It's like your team's
Mm-hmm.
skill. So like you know that's why like they're always good people like even at low ranks because like even if you're really good if you're really good if you're playing with bad people then you'll lose. So like I think that's another reason why I like it is because each game isn't like oh well I spent like 30 hours ranking up this account. If I lose 2 games in a row I'm gonna rank down. Like hope that doesn't happen. It's not as stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't really know how that works in Overwatch. Is there like a ranking system in that? I mean,
Not yet.
I know that you like leveled up and stuff, but
Uh,
in
what I heard is that there's not a ranked game mode yet.
oh well, I hope it stays like that because like because that makes the game a lot more enjoyable to me.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not like because then each game is just like its own. Like I'm not thinking like big picture. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can just like enjoy that one game because I want to win that game just for the sake of winning it, not because
Yeah.
it's like well, I've won 3 games. If I don't win the fourth game, then I'm not going to rank up, and I have to restart. And like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like there are definitely people who are really into that, like the sort of the competitive aspect and getting better and proving that they're better than everyone. But it's weird because that's enjoyable, but it also takes away part of your enjoyment because you take the game super seriously when you play it like that. So that like makes it less enjoyable. So it's weird to like balance that out.
Yeah, it makes it enjoyable, but it also makes the amount that you enjoy it fluctuate much more than if you
Mm-hmm.
weren't doing it like that. Because like I feel like that makes the highs really high, but it makes the lows extremely lower than if you just were just playing for fun. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I'm sure, like, I mean, obviously, like ranking up in Counter Strike and stuff like that's really fun. But also sometimes, like, when I just forget about the rank and like I just have a really good game where like we were down by a lot of rounds and then we come back, just something like that, like that's much more fun to me than like you know it's usually more satisfying to me than ranking up. So like if all of the games were like that, or if I could think of most of the games like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it would be it would be more consistent. Like my enjoyment would be more consistent.
Yeah.
But
That's
like
true.
I definitely like. I mean, there's a draw to like you know being better than other people, and like that competitive aspect of the game. That I mean, for a lot of games are ingrained into the game. I mean, like there's there aren't really any other game types in Counter Strike that matter or that like count or that even people play a lot besides competitive. Like there's no um, there's casual, but casual isn't like I was gonna say casual isn't like competitive, which is weird to say, but like the way that the game is actually played in casual isn't the same. Like in competitive, it's 5 on 5, in casual, it's 10 on 10.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like completely different. And people have been asking for like forever for there to be like 5 on 5, casual, like basically the same thing as competitive, except it's just not linked to your rank, like
Mm-hmm.
non-competitive 5 on 5.
Yeah.
But there isn't, and so it's like every game is competitive, and every game is for your rank, and every game is like, I mean, unless you want to get like a Smurf or something or get another account, but like I just don't care that much to actually do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, like from the companies creating the games perspective, it's interesting like the choices they have to make, I think. Like, cuz companies like Riot, they try to cater to both. What ends up happening is like they'll pretty much neglect the they'll give the player base who is like really competitive just enough that they keep playing, but they also like focus more on the casual crowd because maybe it's because the competitive crowd has sunk so much time into it already that they can sort of just keep them in there with that factor.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. I don't know. I'm ready for the new because the thing that's been like that bothers me is just like the new way that games are made that aren't like a story based franchise that already exists. Like I mean, a really good example like that I've been playing a lot lately, obviously, is Dark Souls. In
Mm-hmm.
that it's like there's a really intense, not like competitive because that doesn't like that can't exist, but like
Mm-hmm.
PvP
Yeah.
like crowd in that game, and it is like, oh my gosh, it is insane. Like I've watched people do stuff that I didn't even know was possible in that game. Like like what backstabs are in that
Uh-huh.
game, right? You like run around behind them and
Yeah.
you get the critical attack. They're like you can reverse backstab people because of like the latency on the servers. You like there's a certain way that you can do it. You like wait for someone to backstab you and then you can do something so you get out of it, and then while they're doing the backstab animation you get behind them and backstab them. Like it's insane. But also the the single player is like awesome and really fun. You can sink a lot of time into it. The problem that I've had with like there aren't a ton of games like that, and a lot of games right now are because of like how popular esports is and like these hyper competitive games. Like the market is getting so saturated with those that it's just like everything is competitive,
Yeah.
everything. And like I'm not trying to be that guy that's like, things shouldn't be competitive and like, all right, sport, you came to the soccer game, so you got a participation trophy. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like I'm not trying to be that guy. I understand that like, there's room for that, and that, you know, how that's appealing to people, but it's just like, man, when every big game that comes out is like trying to break into that esports market, it's just like the it just gets I feel like it gets really stale really quick
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, you know, every game has to be like super complicated and very like, you know, like strategy based, and there's like, there's a meta that develops, and so then you have to play that game that way, and like, it's just like everything doesn't have to be that
Yeah.
way, it doesn't have to
Winning
follow that.
Winning doesn't have to be everything.
Yeah,